Well, hello, everybody. Here's a rare Saturday video. Debbie's off to work, so I got the house to myself for a while. Just found out something that pissed me off. Republican from Pennsylvania, Tom Marino, has just been appointed by Trump as to be the new drug czar. This man wants to go back to the 80s type of incarcerating everybody for drug possession, up to and including getting into the medical states and fucking with us. Sorry about my language, but it pisses me off. And President Trump, you need to put these people in their place because they do not know what they're doing. They have no healthcare experience. They have no scientific basis, no medical background. Yet you're putting them in charge of telling people we can or can't have marijuana. That is so wrong. Prohibition has been wrong since it started in 1937. Okay? We need to get back to industrial hemp. We need to leave medical marijuana alone. We need to blanket legalize medical across all 50 frickin' states. And then the states under the 10th Amendment can then come in recreational. And the federal government under medical, they can take taxes on the medical. When they blanket legalize, they can now tax the medical and put the money in the banking system. And make money for this country to cure our national frickin' debt. But no! Everybody loses their fucking minds if you smoke a joint. But they don't care if you take OxyContin. Well, actually they do now. They're screwing with opiates, and they're screwing with patients. Okay? You're making it to where we sit here worried about whether or not we're going to have our painkillers next month. Okay? Monday, when I go in for my drugs Monday, I want my morphines. I want them ready. Okay? They should be ready and available at the pharmacies. They have medicinal value. There is no opioid epidemic. The CDC said so. I believe them over the DEA and any governmental bureaucrats that just spew propaganda and want to go back to the draconian age of arresting everybody for pot. Okay? It's frickin' ridiculous. Okay, Mr. President, get your shit together. You promised to leave medical marijuana alone. You promised to do something about medical marijuana. Well, what you're doing now is pissing people off, including me, who voted for you, who created this page for you. Okay? I campaigned on this on Facebook for you. Okay? I don't deserve to be treated like a goddamn criminal or an addict. I'm neither. Okay? I'm a patient with chronic, severe, intractable, daily, acute pain. And until you've walked a mile in my shoes and spent a day in my body without morphine, you would not handle it. You can't. People who have not experienced acute, severe, long-term chronic pain have no frickin' room to talk about opiates and painkillers for people like me and my pain family that this video goes out to. Share this, okay? I'm sorry, but we should make President Trump ashamed of what he's doing for marijuana. He's doing nothing, okay? If they legalized hemp alone, within 2 years they could build their frickin' wall by utilizing hemp industry. The government can make money, cure the national debt, build your frickin' wall, okay? Keep the army in beans and bullets the way it's supposed to be, okay? Give our troops what they need. And when they come home, take care of them. They're all coming back screwed up in the head because there's nobody over there that is not in constant threat. Okay? All of our troops overseas are in a constant state of threat. Because you can't trust anybody there. You never know when somebody's going to walk up to you and blow up. Okay? And blowing up Americans is like the national frickin' pastime in the Middle East right now. Okay? So our vets are coming back screwed up. Male and female alike. Even if they didn't go to combat, they're still living in a very dangerous area. So when they come home, they deserve to be given medical marijuana to alleviate the symptoms of the PTSD even before it starts. Okay? Save our veterans. Take care of your veterans. Anticipate the needs of the veterans. And those needs are going to include medical marijuana. Especially if they've lost limbs. Medical marijuana cures phantom limb pain. Okay? As well as controlling PTSD. And curing chronic bronchitis and COPD, and I'm now working on heavy-duty intakes of hemp oil and cannabis and Rick Simpson oil to cure myself of emphysema. And I've gone from being a 10-10 in pain to taking my morphine, my Seroquel, my Valium, amitriptyline, medical marijuana, Rick Simpson oil, all the concentrates, and hemp oil, and I am better for it. And I'm not a criminal. I am not a slack-eyed addict, okay? I am not on the Jones for another pill. I never am. I never miss a pill. Only when I feel the pain and go, I need another morphine. And I'll look at my pills and say, damn, I was supposed to take that hours ago. Does that sound addictive to you? No, I'm not addicted. Because I smoke weed. And weed is non-addictive. Okay? So, you put a drug czar... Come on, Payne, let's go on. You put a drug czar in control of our health. You pretty much damn better be sure that that person has background in medicine or in science of some kind, chemistry, where you learn about drugs and what they do to your brain, okay? It's just the stupidest thing possible. It says right here, Tom Marino, Republican from Pennsylvania, is to be the director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, colloquially referred to as the drug czar. He's a former prosecutor with no background in health or treatment, and he supports a punitive 1980s-style approach to drugs, including mass incarceration and coerced treatment, even for marijuana. Drug Policy Action, the political arm of the Drug Policy Allowance, gave him an F in their 2016 Congressional Voter Guide. F. You failed, Mr. Marino, and you're going to fail as the drug czar, because you cannot wage a war on drugs and just go after the people that are easy to get to, which is us, the medical marijuana patients, the people who need it. Okay, we're the ones that are that it's easiest to incarcerate, because it costs more money to go after the cartels. You have to pay people, you have to get somebody inside, undercover shit and all that. Wage your drug war on the cartels, the incoming drugs, the meth labs, these people trying to sell weed, ketamine, fentanyl patches, medical marijuana through the mail is wrong. Those are the people you need to go after. There is no frickin' opiate epidemic, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. I believe them over the DEA and their bullshit thought about an opioid epidemic. It does not exist except in their minds, and they've convinced themselves. But they can't convince the people, because we are learning. That's what I'm doing here. I am teaching people, and I'm asking you to share these videos. Tag the president. Let them know you don't like the job he's doing. Okay? Mr. Trump, Mr. President, I do not like this job you are doing now. Okay? Appointing all these people and saying you're going to go back to the main drug war, you are hurting legitimate patients. And you've got to discriminate between legitimate patients and bad people. You've got to make that distinction and stop lumping us all together. Okay? You've got, like I've talked about, the anti-weed Nazis and the super stoner counterculture, and stuck here in the middle is up to 60 to 100 million people with severe chronic acute daily pain. 34 proven cancer cures for marijuana. And right here, I'm going to get back into this other thing. The main reason I was going to shoot the video today. I just saw a thing about Marino, pissed me off. But a Berkeley doctor named Dr. Hardin B. Jones, former professor of medical physics and physiology at UC Berkeley, and he says that the leading edge of cancer treatment is a sham. People who refuse chemotherapy live 12 and a half years longer than patients who take chemotherapy. His personal studies of life expectancy for more than 25 years has concluded that chemo does more harm than good. Chemo patients die within 3 years of diagnosis, and a large number of them just after a few weeks. Doctors are prescribing chemotherapy for the money only. I've been saying it, and now here's a physician and professor of physics, medical physics and physiology. There you go, DEA. This is the truth. The DEA needs to get off their soapboxes and go after the real frickin' criminals and leave legitimate patients alone. Okay? Legitimate patients. Breast cancer patients that have rejected chemotherapy live 4 times longer than those who follow the system. Now, get this. Despite the U.S. spending more money on health care than any other country in the world, diseases of affluence continue to increase in prevalence, resulting in shorter lifespan overall. And it's all about selling the latest pill. Nobody gives a shit about natural alternatives. Pot is number one, but it seems that there is no money in a healthy population. There is no money in a healthy population. We need to think. We need to think. And we need people to share thoughts and feelings. Take my videos, share it with your thoughts and feelings. Tag the president. Don't worry. It's his job. Okay? The president's job is to be there 24/7, 365. That is the job of the president. I'm in the middle of taking a college course on the written Constitution. And I'll follow that up with another one called the Unwritten Constitution. So when it comes to executive powers, I've been learning it all. Okay? And I'm getting it all down pat here. Okay? I will know constitutional law better than I already have. Okay? The president needs to look after the health care of the people. And he needs to do that by appointing a Surgeon General like Sanjay Gupta. The man's got the experience. And he's got the knowledge. And he's got the facts that what the DEA says about opioids and marijuana is a lie. There's no opioid epidemic. Marijuana is not addicting. People get high. But guess what? That high cleans off the neurons in the brain. THC prevents and reverses Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so that buzz is not just a buzz. It's a therapeutic action on the body for homeostasis. How I ended yesterday's video. Homeostasis, where everything is in balance. And people like me, the elderly, we're getting up there in years, okay? I'm closer to 60 than 50 now. I'm going to be on opiates for the rest of my life. As long as I'm on marijuana also, I will live, I will survive, and I will not become addicted to the morphine. If I was going to become addicted to the morphine, I'd have already felt the symptoms of addiction over the past 4 years. It's going on 4 years. October 2013 will be 4 years on morphine and marijuana. And I've told you before, I came back on the scene 2014, January. After starting, I got fixed. Morphine and marijuana with my Seroquel, amitriptyline, and Valium have combined with cannabis and hemp and has given me a quality of life. Now, Mr. President, why would you not let your people have that quality of life? Why would you deny them the opportunity to heal themselves naturally with cannabis? It's all because people don't like the fact that somebody gets high. Well, you know what? Don't frickin' use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. If we're sitting in our homes or in a public club that is made for marijuana, like we have here, a 420 social club, okay? We are medicating. And we are healing our bodies and our minds. Okay? Most of the 420 social club is veterans. Okay? PTSD. They're all smoking weed. Why? Because it works. Okay? It all comes down to freedoms. Okay? The 10th Amendment to the Constitution has helped. It has put Arizona in a medical marijuana program. Why? Because we can, via the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. States have got to catch up and finish legalizing medical. Okay? If the government won't do it, fine. Let's all the states get together, the rest of you, the 21 or 22 states that are left. We need you to legalize medical, mirror the laws of Colorado and Arizona and New Mexico, all the best, and qualifying conditions, hundreds of them. Everything is a qualified condition. I've told you before in my pot book. All these are conditions. These are all diseases covered by marijuana, cured, maintained, or fixed, or aided, or helped by. There's emphysema, right there. Smoking weed helps my emphysema. It already cured my COPD and chronic bronchitis. And hell, it could be curing the emphysema all this time. I just didn't know until now. This is the first x-ray I've had of my lower lungs. My emphysema could have been there for years. And I'm actually getting better with this. I breathe better after I smoke weed. Okay? Because it improves lung function. Scientifically proven. Okay? Mr. President, I will keep talking about Mr. Trump. I will keep talking about you. I will keep addressing you, Mr. Trump. Okay? Your drug czar needs to go after the cartels, the meth labs, the doctors who write many opiate scripts. Investigate. If they're bad, arrest them. My doctor will pass inspection. I know he's not the type to just hand out opiates. Okay? Him and I started 6 years ago, very slowly. I was suffering 9, 8, 9, 10 pain. Right up here at the top of the schedule, 8, 9, and 10 pain. As in, to the point where I can't think or function or interact with people. Because I won't hear you, I won't understand you, I might not even see you, I might just be in a blind. Okay? That's 10-10 pain. And I've been there. And my doctor's seen it. And he's prescribed opiates. And we worked up slowly. The first 2 years. Okay? Finally went to OxyContin. I was still trying to get my Social Security, so I had to see a psychiatrist for the PTSD part of my Social Security. He threw handfuls of pills at me. Venlafaxine, Klonopin, the Seroquel, which I'm using now still because that was okay. But everything else she was giving me had me in a state where I lost half of 2013. Okay? From about March to October of 2013, I was lost. And I had my blackout at the wheel, and it was psych meds and OxyContin. And I went through withdrawal, and I was back up into the 10-10 pain when my doctor said, let's try morphine, and I'd like to give you medical marijuana and see you take less morphine. Well, it didn't work out that way. Why? My pain level's too high. So I've actually I took 210 milligrams of morphine for the past 3 years. And just a little while back, I asked my doctor, I said, it's been over 3 years now at the same dose. My pain levels are increasing again. Can I get one more immediate relief? And he said yes. He granted me that because he sees, he knows, and he can read me. And he's a good doctor. Leave him alone. Go after the bad doctors, the ones that are, every other script they write is morphine. Okay, those are the ones that are probably getting kickbacks or they're getting money under the table, and then people are selling the drugs. However that happens, go after them. Go after the crooks. Leave patients alone. We are patients, not addicts. And we're not. And we're not stoners. Okay? I may have been back in the day, but I'm not now. I'm a patient. I'm here in the middle with millions of us. And we are scared because we've put Trump in power. We have put you in power, Mr. Trump. I voted for you on the platform that you would leave medical marijuana alone. And now it seems you're not, because everything we hear is the DEA is trying to reschedule everything onto the Schedule 1 narcotics, including marijuana and hemp oil, which does not belong anywhere near any drug schedule, because it's a natural, safe medicine that does nothing but positive things to the body. Nothing but positive things to the body. Cannabidiol from hemp is the most safest, non-addicting, non-psychoactive healing cure that you don't have to worry about a maximum dose. You can't take too much because it attaches to the receptors that are made for it all over your body. Organs, tissues, glands, all that. That's one set of receptors. And then there's a whole other set of receptors on your immune system. And you can't overdose on CBD. You can't overdose on weed. Okay? You can't. It's freaking possible. Okay? And with the safety profile of 0 deaths, okay? Doesn't that tell you you should be chasing heroin and cocaine and meth? Okay? That's what you should be chasing. And the illegal sales. I get them I just blocked 2 people this morning because they just joined Facebook and the only pictures were weed. Okay? I blocked those people from joining my group because my group is for legalization. And that's what I'm begging you for, Mr. Trump. If you don't want to do this on a federal level and make money, which you should, industrial hemp and medical marijuana for the VA, and you can open your own dispensaries in towns, have federal dispensaries as well as locals, but don't overrun local business. Okay? The DEA starts being regulating agency instead of enforcement. They'll be able to go after the cartels and the illegal people better as soon as they leave us alone. Okay? Stop chasing an invisible opioid epidemic and stop chasing legitimate medical marijuana patients and opiate patients. We need our medicine. Okay? I do not want to fear having to live at the top of the pain scale, all because this representative doesn't like weed. Well, la-di frickin' da. It doesn't matter what you personally feel. And that's what makes it wrong to put people like this in charge. Okay? You want a drug czar? Your drug czar should be a medical professional. Okay? Who can spot the difference between legal and illegal. The DEA considers everything illegal. And that's the frickin' problem. They need to get off that bandwagon. Okay? There's legitimate patients of over 200 diseases, 34 and more cancer cures. And like I said, chemo patients die within 2.5 years. People that refuse chemo and just live with the cancer live 12.5 years. It's all about creating customers, okay? And making people sick and dependent on pharmaceuticals. I don't like to be dependent on my painkillers, but I am. But I've got marijuana, and that's what helps me keep from being addicted. And it's what helps my pain levels, and it's what helps increase my quality of life. I'm on my soapbox, yes. I'm always on my soapbox in my videos. That's what my videos are for. This is my video soapbox. But what I'm talking about is the truth. What I'm pointing out are facts, scientific evidence. Okay? The drug czar should be totally impartial. That's what I'm learning by reading the Constitution. The Bill of Rights happened because framers of the Constitution foresaw all these problems happening in the future. The right to bear arms, freedom of speech, the rights of the states, the 10th Amendment, the rights of the states to implement anything that is not stated in federal laws in the Constitution. So the Constitution doesn't say anything about hemp or cannabis. So the states can do it. Well, we need the rest of the states to do it. And we need to tell the federal government, like I'm trying to tell Mr. Trump, Mr. President, my Commander-in-Chief, if I physically could, I'd take up arms for you. I wouldn't for Barack. I wouldn't for Hillary. I'd take up arms for you, if I could still. But I can't. Now I'm a patient. And now I'm not asking for much. I'm not asking for beans and bullets like I was in the Army. I'm asking for health care. Not an Affordable Health Care Act that They spent almost $700 million on the website for the Affordable Care Act to cover 300 million people. So Clint Eastwood was right when he said, well, doesn't that mean that instead of building that website, you could have given every man, woman, and child in this country $2 million? All that money wasted on a frickin' website when you could really have given everybody in the country $2 million. Yes, there will be economic implications. There'll be some kind of inflation or reflation, deflation, some kind of inflation. But it'll balance out. Everything balances out. If you gum up the works, things won't balance out. Okay, so people out there that are dependent on painkillers and opiates, or marijuana, or hemp, for their chronic and deadly diseases. This stuff saves lives. Chemo takes lives. Marijuana saves. Hemp saves. Why? Why do you want to persecute people for getting high and healthy? Is it because you're getting money from Big Pharma? Okay, the pharmaceutical companies and their lobbyists need to be stopped. The pharmaceutical industry needs to get its fingers out of the governmental pie. They're influencing it too much, and what's happening is we get shit like this Tom Marino. We do not need people like that in charge. They're not impartial. Think. Please. That's what it takes. Impartiality. Okay? The Supreme Court is supposed to be impartial, but they're not. Everything's influenced by people's feelings. Okay, and some people need to get over the feelings about marijuana. Okay? Get real. Get with the program. Learn. I've got this entire notebook filled, and I can start with another one on positive things about marijuana and hemp and opiates. And what it all comes down to, Mr. President, is that we do not deserve to be treated like this. We don't. We don't deserve it. Why would you make your citizens suffer? Just so Big Pharma can rake in another $1 billion. And like I said about them, they have these commercials telling us to ask our doctor for these products that sound, they make you sick 5 times over from your original. Kybella, that little thing that gets rid of this little flap here, that's all it is. It just gets rid of this dewlap thing here. The side effects is tuberculosis. You can get tuberculosis from these things. You can get emphysema from these things. Pharmaceuticals are the most deadly poisons. Like I pointed out in the last video, 10,000 years of safe medical marijuana use. 100 years, 10,000 years, no deaths. Zeros. No deaths. 10,000 years. The last 100 years of pharmaceuticals, ever since they made the first freaking aspirin, has been the downfall of the human body. Okay? You want to know why we have allergies? Shit like Monsanto and drug companies. Tylenol. Tylenol is a poison. I was taking so much hydrocodone that Tylenol was getting my... That's probably why I have some hepatitis, is because everybody would give me hydrocodone or oxycodone, which is synthetic codeine with what? Tylenol. Okay, and I was taking 100 milligrams daily of hydrocodone, which translated out to like 5 or 6 grams. We're talking 5,000 milligrams of Tylenol a day. Way, way, way more than what's recommended just for Tylenol. That's probably what screwed my liver up. That's probably why I've got Hep C. All that Tylenol, because all they would push on me is those pills that had Tylenol in them as an accelerant. Okay? Like they put caffeine in aspirin. Aspirin helps accelerate it. Well, they put aspirin or Tylenol with the synthetic codeine for hydrocodone or oxycodone. Okay, that's got synthetic codeine backed up with that shit. And it's just beyond ridiculous that I have to keep doing these videos. And every time I'm turning on the news lately, or everything I'm seeing on the websites and on Facebook and in the news that I double check, is that all this shit is coming down and it's all going after cannabis and legal, legitimate opiate patients. And Mr. Trump, it is not conducive for your next election to allow the pharmaceutical industry to continue killing people wantonly with the government's backing. That's what the government is doing, as long as they let Big Pharma control shit. Okay? We need to stop Big Pharma's control. We need to, desperately. No more lobbyists, okay? Don't let the lobbyists have any freaking influence. Because everybody's influence is to the negative. Because it's all for their benefit. They make money from us being sick. Okay, so like Harvoni or something for hepatitis or shit like that. That's where they make their money. Well, I'm working on my hepatitis with hemp oil and cannabis. And I'll fix it. Safely. I will not have those side effects. My doctors, it was the doctor's assistant, called me and said that you've got emphysema. The doctor suggests you maybe smoke less weed. I said, no, I'm going to smoke less cigarettes. I'm going to actually smoke more weed. Because the emphysema has probably been there a long time. This is the first time I've had that area x-rayed or CT scanned. So I could have had emphysema for years. And I'm fixing it. I'm feeling better. I breathe. I can do a long, slow, 1.5-minute inhale, hold my breath for up to 6 minutes. Still, that's lung volume. I've still got 95% lung volume with emphysema, chronic bronchitis, and COPD. I still got that lung volume, and it's all because I smoke weed. Sure, it makes me cough, just because it's rough. You cough when you get a cold. It's the same thing. It's a cough. That's it. So I have to suffer through the cough. I have to suffer cotton mouth, dry eyes? No, I don't. Why? Because I never get past. Okay? I never get beyond. I never feel the high. I've told you that in successive videos as we've gone along. I don't feel my morphine. I don't feel the marijuana the way normal people do. I feel pain and pain reduction. So this is a painkiller for me. Okay? I don't get high. I get healed. And it should be available to everybody. Why? Because it's safe, effective, efficient. You can't overdose on it. Anything that Big Pharma puts out nowadays, you can overdose on. You can overdose on that shit they put under your neck, or stuff they're putting in your eyes now. Restasis and shit like that. It's really just cyclosporine. It's just That's been around for ages. Why they have to remarket it in a new packaging? Why? More money. And they got the really pretty doctor and the really pretty patient to do the commercial. Okay? So they're using sex to sell eye drops that are cyclosporine, which we have been using in our eyes for a whole generation. They just repackaged it. And the extra stuff, the vehicles that are behind it, that's what gives you the side effects. Those are where your worst side effects come from. And you can't even pronounce what these things are anymore. Okay? Acetaminophen and acetylsalicylic acid. Now they've got liraglutide, adalimumab, or what's that? Brexulti. Brexpiprazole. Try to say that 10 times fast. But Rexulti. That's why they have to come up with fancy names like Rexulti. Because nobody has ever heard of that word. Brexpiprazole. What is that? And when you Google it, all you get is the drug information that the drug manufacturer wants you to see. And remember this, again, I'll repeat this in every video from now on. Every drug that the FDA recalls has been approved by the FDA. I'm going to end on that. Just think about that. Mr. President, when you're talking about this war on drugs crap, okay, leave the patients alone. The millions of us in the middle, in between these two warring factions, need to be left alone. We need our opiates for pain. We need our marijuana for pain, multiple sclerosis, seizure disorders, everything. Heart, lungs, liver, it's all positively affected by cannabinoids because of the ECS. We have opiate receptors and we have the cannabinoid receptors. We do not have an adalimumab receptor. And when you don't have receptors for these things, they go throughout your body looking for something. And whatever they do, wherever they go, they leave a trail of something behind. And that's what makes people sicker. In my estimation, okay, the way I see it, these new pharmaceuticals don't have receptors, okay? We have the painkiller receptors. These new painkillers do not target those receptors. And they go around the body looking for something else to get into to see what they fit. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to fit in. And in fitting in, sometimes they crowd things out and screw things up and make things grow that shouldn't grow, or make things disappear that shouldn't disappear. Okay? It might make your heart start pumping opposite. Who knows what it's going to do? It just... When it comes to a human body physiology, we require opiates for painkillers, and we've got the receptors for it. And almost every disease known to man on this list, almost every single disease known to man, diseases and cancers and everything, all helped positively by cannabinoids through the endocannabinoid system. So, the drug czar needs to be impartial. Or he's got to have the backing, he's got to have an adjutant that can say, no, that's wrong, you shouldn't do that, and this is why. Because, okay, and these people need to see reason, and they don't. They just see what they want to see. Okay? They just want to see the movie Reefer Madness, and they believe they believe all that. Okay, if Reefer Madness was true, there'd be dead people all over from the use of marijuana. But Reefer Madness was a bullshit propaganda film. And everything since 1937 and when 70 with the Controlled Substances Act because SCOTUS deemed it unconstitutional. So they created the DEA and the Controlled Substances Act to reschedule marijuana as a Class 1 narcotic, no medicinal value. We've got medicinal value, we've got facts, we've got figures, we've got me as a guinea pig, and my wife and her friend, and everybody that I know in CBD have saved me, and everything is positive. And a good friend of mine on Facebook today got her medical marijuana card, finally. And she's so overjoyed that she's going to be able to go to the dispensary and get the relief that I've told her and I've promised her is out there. Love you, sweetheart. Congratulations. I've already told these folks, I says, if you want to, I'll be right there on Messenger when you go into the dispensary. So I can, we can text back and forth, and I can say what your bud tender should be doing to help you. Because some states, as they bring up their, if the people aren't trained well enough to know everything about the product they're selling, okay, I know. Because I've been studying it since I started taking it. So I'm going on 4 years of studying marijuana and opiates therapy. And everything I've found out about marijuana, I give to everybody. Okay? I don't sell this information. I haven't written a book. I just give it out to everybody. Like Rick Simpson gave his recipe for cancer cure. We need to cure cancers. We need to keep a healthy population instead of a pharmaceutical dependent nation. Yes, I'm dependent on opiates, but I'm not dependent on anything else. I don't need all those other crappy drugs with all their shitty side effects. I don't need that for my health. I need painkilling and a quality of life. And the combination of opiates and marijuana has done that for me. Okay? And in the abstract, to close out here, let me just say that Mr. President, help us. Don't hinder us, and don't hinder the legalization for medical use. Because that's what you're doing with Mr. Marino's appointment. This man is so biased that he's going to go after everybody. Okay? I don't want to have to fear that I'm going to go to the dispensary and spend $500 and on the way home get pulled over by a cop and they can take my shit. And I'm out that money and I'm out that medicine. I can't stand the stress of that. Okay, I got so stressed out when I heard that my pharmacy ran out of morphine, and at the same time the DEA was talking about this opioid epidemic and that they were going to try to reduce the shelves of 25% of all opiates. That puts me on notice and makes us afraid of tomorrow. Okay? It makes us fear the next day. Because we never know what's going to come out of these people. And when they're so biased and put in charge of something like drug control, their attitude comes out. They cannot be impartial. No matter what they say, they will never be impartial. And Marino has already stated his facts, okay? And I don't see him changing unless he's put in line by the president and told by the president how to act. Thus, again, Mr. President, tell Mr. Marino to leave opiate patients alone. Go after the bad doctors. You'll find them easy. But don't go after legitimate patients and doctors that are really legitimately prescribing this. Okay? You gotta believe in the doctors sometimes. Don't let people override and go forth with this bullshit legislation. it's not good. It's not conducive to the population's wealth and health. Okay? We want to feel healthy, and we don't want to be afraid of feeling unhealthy tomorrow because our medications were taken away from us. That's it. I got it. 1 hour is enough now. Less than an hour. I made it less than an hour finally. Hey! Peace, love, truth, and happiness, people. Mr. President, leave marijuana alone. Leave the opiates alone. Go after the bad people. Leave the good patients and doctors alone. Please. If you'll start utilizing hemp industry, you will make enough money to pay for your wall, cure the national debt, make us oil independent, and add so much more to this planet. Because these plants breathe more, and that'll be another subject again. I'm always open for topics or suggestions for a show. My little shows here. Okay, give me something I can talk about or rant about for an hour to I'm happy to do it. Okay, I'm happy to do the research and find everything I can. I will do my due diligence. Okay, Mr. President, I am doing that. I am doing my due diligence in all my studies. And everything I'm finding is coming up to the positive for marijuana being the cure for cancer and so many other diseases that the big pharmaceutical companies are spending billions of dollars to hide. Okay? They started by hiding the cancer cure in 1974. 43 years. How many millions of people have died? You're a numbers man, Mr. President. Think of those numbers. They're not acceptable. Peace out. Free marijuana from the prison of ignorance. Thank you.